So I just came from watching Netflix's The Uglies. Oh boy, I genuinely gave it a chance, and wow, I have a lot to say. The Uglies, a 2024 American science fiction drama film. Yeah, that's one thing I felt this movie was trying to do. It was trying to do so much because yeah, it's a drama, it's sci-fi. It also tries to sprinkle in a bit of romance. The film stars Joey King, Keith Powers, Chase Stokes, some familiar actors here and there. The premise is that in the future, the world has fallen into chaos after exhausting all natural resources. To keep humanity alive, scientists first create genetically modified orchids that are a new energy source, and second, a surgical procedure to make people pretty. This way, everyone's perfection will not cause any further chaos. The surgery is performed on the Uglies when they are 16, before allowing them to the city where the celebration occurs as the Pretties. Oh boy, first of all, yeah, the people that are referred to as the Uglies, I mean, you should have just genuinely chosen ugly people to play the Uglies, because these Uglies are not even ugly. Like, our main character is one of the Uglies, and my goodness, like, that girl is what? Maybe a 7 out of 10 in looks without makeup. There's this one scene she just goes to the mirror and she says, "Mirror, make me pretty," and it shows her like the Instagram version of her. But I'm like, your natural self without makeup looks absolutely fine. I get that probably I'm going to try and be vague, in case you want to watch this movie and just not have any major spoilers. Maybe the point of the film was just to show that the whole pretties concept was propaganda, because the people who do the surgery are like trying to manipulate you. Maybe that was the point, but at least try and get actual ugly people to play the ugly. Stop having regular, I feel like the film was made to appeal to girls on Instagram, young teens who are like, I'm a 6 out of 10. I'm so ugly. I need filters and, editing on my pics to look prettier. The movie starts with an exposition dump. Typically, I know that when a movie starts with an exposition dump, it's not going to be good. There are very few films that know how to do like an exposition dump. An example is Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, when it opens, it begins with an exposition dump, but the reason why it's a good exposition dump is because they show you what they're saying. They don't just say all of it. But here, the exposition dump in the opening is done more like a montage where they're just like summarizing quick, the opening of the movie so that they give you context, which is, in my opinion, a form of very novice level writing. Like, a novice writer was told, hey, you need to make people see where the movie is being set. So just give them like a quick recap. Give them a quick recap so that they can be up to speed. It's not the same like the Lord of the Rings does. Lord of the Rings does their opening much better. The Fellowship of the Ring does it much better. Movies with exposition dumps, movies like Borderlands 2024, Rebel Moon, they have openings where they just dump out of exposition on you. But the difference between those exposition dumps and Lord of the Rings is that Lord of the Rings does a proper, showing, not telling. While this one's, The Uglies, Borderlands, that other one, Rebel Moon, they just do telling. Yeah, very little showing you properly. The movie also comes off like it's preaching. There are many times characters characters nearly even look into the camera and they're like, it's not what makes you pretty on the outside, it's what makes you pretty on the inside. Some BS like that. It's like it's being directly preached to you. So there's a procedure that's supposed to make you prettier when you hit 16. I don't know what Netflix considers pretty, but those AI Botox looking motherfuckers are not pretty. If you see the pretties in the movie, some Barbie doll faces, some Ken doll Botox looking faces. Ugh, ugh, ugh. I don't know what level of propaganda you have to sell to people to make them think that that's how pretty is supposed to look like. The characters are okay and likable. I cared about them. At least they did that correctly. I should mention that in good stories, it's always the flaws of a character that make that character likable. Think about any film you like. The character always has some flaw that makes them likable, and you get to watch that character trying to maybe overcome that flaw or using that flaw to their advantage. So characters must have flaws to be more interesting, but this movie is trying to tell you no, or at least the premise of this movie revolves around making the characters perfect, which just removes all the taste out of the film. I found the film to be very generic and bland. It gave me Divergent vibes. If you've watched Divergent, comment below. If you've watched, there's this movie called The Host, 2013. It's an adaptation of a film by Stephanie Meyer. So if you watch The Host, 2013, and Divergent, this film is like a cousin of those films. It's like a cousin of those films. I feel like the film was definitely directed towards a younger audience, a younger teen female audience. If you're a young teen, I don't know, 16, 15, 14, high schoolish, you probably might enjoy this film. I also noticed a lot of like thirst traps and stuff like that. Kind of like if you watch The Acolyte. In The Acolyte, I think episode 6, there's this one scene where the bad guy is like taking a bath in the river. Even this one, it has a character, a male buffish dude in the river. He's not the villain, but he's kind of the villain because he has that reputation of being the villain. But yeah, just like the Acolyte, some dude is in the river just taking a bath, and it happens more than once. You see some dude doing some thirst trap type behaviors. I was very checked out in the last 30 minutes of the film, and it's just because it was generic, bland, and it was like a copycat of other films I've seen. This film was definitely written by AI, because AI likes to take ideas from all over the place and try and squash them together. It's all, the film feels like it's all over the place. So AI does that. It takes ideas from all over the place and mashes them together. AI has no creativity. That's why the film feels generic and bland. So out of 10, I give this film a 5. A 5 out of 10. It's the kind of film I would put if I had friends come over and then I just put it in the background as it makes noise. It's watchable. I wouldn't say that it's the worst thing I've seen this year, but definitely it's full of good ideas that had very bad execution, in my opinion. Those are just my thoughts about The Uglies. What are yours? If you've watched the film, tell me what you think. If you haven't watched it, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just one of those films that you would put in the background. Maybe you should watch it and make up your own mind. I wouldn't tell you to skip it, but I definitely wouldn't tell you to rush and watch it. On the screen, I'll leave other reviews I've done for Netflix films. I'll see you in the next one.